Hello, my name is Jorge Rubio, and I'm going to do a short demonstration for Blackboard Offline. Just to give a little bit of background, BbOffline is essentially a combination of a building block and a desktop application. Um, the main value for this solution is that it allows users to access their Blackboard Learn courses through or via this desktop application while offline. So essentially what it does is it uses a combination of API calls plus other logic that we have integrated into the app to retrieve content items from the Blackboard course, and it saves these items to the local file system, allowing the user to launch BbOffline and then get access to those content items. On top of that, BbOffline also allows a user to submit assignments, to post things like a discussion forum, take SCORM courses, and do all that activity offline, right? So it allows a user to do all this offline, and then it also allows a user to submit all this work that they have created offline once they become online or have an active connection. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate how this all works. In order to get the installer file to install the desktop component of BbOffline, users just have to log into their Learn site. This is right now done using a module. So let me log in here with my test student account. This is wrong. Okay, here we go. Okay, so once I logged in, depending on how the site has been configured, I should be able to find a module like this, right? So here I can download the installer for Mac, or I can download the one for Windows. Right now, BbOffline supports Windows 8 and Windows 10. Also, in the Mac side, we support OS X 10.10 and above. Okay, so once the user goes through the process of installing BbOffline, they basically execute the file and open the application locally. So I'm going to do that. And this is the first page that the user sees. It's a login page. Now, before we go through and log in, let me actually demo how the course looks on the Learn side so we can see similarities and limitations when we actually go through via BbOffline. So I'll navigate here to courses, and let's take this one as an example, this cognitive psychology course. And here we go. So we have several different components. We have embedded images, there's a course syllabus, there's announcements. As part of the content, I can navigate through here, and there will be assignments, there's discussion forums, etc. All right. So note how it looks here. Note how it looks here on the navigation side. And let's go through BbOffline and see how that looks on there. So something important, you have to enter the exact URL for that instance. In this case, I'm using a demo server. And I'm going to log in with the same exact user. All right. First time this user logs in. And here we go. So this is our landing view, or a landing page, right, or initial view for BbOffline. Now on the left side, you can see the list of courses in which this user is actively enrolled in. And this is the one we were just looking at. In the middle section is what we call the content area. Right now, when the user logs in, they can see a list of all the announcements that are currently active and broadcasted through all these courses. This, you can see, it shows you The announcement title, it shows you when it was posted, it shows you which course it belongs to, and then any text or description that comes along with that announcement. At the top, we can collapse the side menu here to have a little bit more real estate for content. We have other options in here. We have, this is what we call a queue of pending items that need to be submitted. I'll talk about that in a little bit. We can go back. This button here takes me back to this announcement view. I can switch the language if I wanted to right now we have Spanish and Brazilian Portuguese available. We're working other language customizations as well. This takes me out or logs me off of the application, and this red button deletes all of the local content that has been downloaded to the local file system of this computer and cleans it all up, right? So a good example would be I have switched to a different organization, or I'm in a new school that has a new Learn instance, or I'm a new user, basically. Those would be scenarios where you would delete all data. And the last one here just shows you the status. Right now it's green. It means that I have an active internet connection. I am online. If that switches to red, it means there's no active connection, and now I'm on offline mode. All right. So while I'm online, what I want to do as a student is essentially navigate through my course so that the product or the desktop app downloads all of that content locally. All right. So let's just go through here, and then you can see that we have similar navigation as we do in Learn. I'm going to go through this page. Now it does that while it loads the content. As this has been loaded, it has already been downloaded to the local file system. So if I were to kill my internet connection right now, this entire page would be available offline, excluding things like embedded videos and other content types, but most of it will be available, right? So there's things like, for example, attachments. Those have to be manually downloaded. Let me try to find one here. Let me switch to the course here. Test demo, I think, is a better candidate. So we have attachments, and then you see, for example, this is SCORM packages, right? So I could download that SCORM package so that then it becomes available while I'm offline. I could do the same thing for attachment files, PDF files, for example. This has been downloaded, so now it gives me the option to delete it if I wanted to. Once it has been downloaded, it enables the link for the user to actually execute this using BbOffline. What's going to happen is that each of these different file types is going to use the locally installed default application to manage these types of files. Like, for example, PDF opens in Adobe, so if I click this, I have to have Adobe Reader, right? Or a PDF reader to open that file. Similarly with Office or Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, or image files, MP3 or media files would open my default media player, for example. And then I would be able to access all that content offline, like I said, as long as I have first navigated to the page and second downloaded any attachments, right? So let's go through a few of these. So we launched the PDF. We saw how that works. Let's go open that syllabus that we saw there. Let me see if it's in here. Course introduction. There's that image that we saw, so you can see it's very similar. Now, again, I just opened this page, and BbOffline now has access to all this content offline. All right. So the course syllabus here, I will have to navigate to it. Now this is available offline, and I can see all the different pieces that I would see all online if I were to on BbLearn. Let me go back to this test demo and show you how we would submit an assignment. Now, obviously, I have to do this while I have an active internet connection. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to record it, right? So I'll point out certain things that are important. So this is my assignment. right? So I can see the same fields that I can see in Blackboard Learn, like due date, how many points are possible, attachments. This one I have already downloaded, but if I hadn't, this would be available for me to download from this page as well. I can open this, right? If I click it, it'll open, like I said, Microsoft Word. In this case, you can see it opening down there. Now, this allows me to enter a text submission. So I'm going to do, I don't know, demo test submission. I can attach a file. I don't know. Let's just pick one. That one. Okay. And then I could add comments if I wanted to, etc. Now, here's an interesting thing. Let's assume that I'm working offline. So I can, again, I have the content that I can read on. I have the description if there was one. So technically, I have all the content that I would need in order to make a successful submission. So offline, I could write my submission. I could append the file, a local file, right? And we can use this option here that says save and submit later. What this is going to do, I'm going to press it. It's going to create an entry in our queue button up here, right? So I can navigate away from this. Let's go to this psychology course, for example. And you see that it stays as one. As I can keep incrementing, so I can keep saving submissions to assignments. It'll increment this number, and I could click that, and it'll show me what's still pending to be synced, or essentially sent to Blackboard Learn's Grade Center. Okay. The same thing happens when I do a discussion forum post offline. It queues it up here, or when I take a scoring package while offline. It saves the progress, and then as soon as it recognizes that I have a connection, I can go in here and submit all that work. All right, so let's assume that I was offline. Let's go back to this assignment. I can just use this, right? That's a perfect example. So I can open the list or the queue. I can click on that item. It should take me directly to this assignment submission page again. This is where we just were, right? So now that I have an active connection, all I need to do is click submit. And that should submit the assignment to Learn. Let's take a look. Let me log in as an instructor. Let me make sure I was using the right course. I'm on test demo, information, and then test assignment 1. Let's see what happened in Learn. Okay, this is my teacher user account. I can go to courses, and this would be test demo. Let's look at the Grade Center. While I do this, another cool thing about BbOffline is that as it's making an API call to make that submission, it will follow basically whatever rules are set up for submission when that assignment is created. So for example, if an assignment only allows a single submission, then and you already entered 1, for example, it'll reject your submission through BbOffline, basically respecting all the setup. So this, let's look for this and make sure that it transmitted. This assignment is test assignment 01, no due dates. All right, let's look in here. See test description, test assignment, maybe it's this guy. Yes. Okay. So here is my attempt. Today is the 21st. Let's look at this guy. So I can see right away that it has successfully been sent. This is my attachment. I can see if I click on my submission text, you can see it here. So this is my attempt, and it was successfully sent from BbOffline to Blackboard Learn, right? And that user had a chance to work on all this stuff while they were offline or had no internet connection. Similarly, this works the same with, like I said, SCORM packages. Let me see if I can find one of these. Or let's see how other content type looks, just for the sake of time. There's things that might not be able to be opened on BbOffline, and we provide a direct link to the user, but this can only be accessed while online, right? So this will open a new page and redirect the user to that exact spot. Let's see, we can access folders. Let's take a look at the first page here. All right, let's change. Let me try content area. Okay, so we have some forums in here. So I'm just quickly going to glance over it so you can see what the user can expect. There's just one thread in this forum. I can click on it, and this is essentially just QA tests, right? But if it was real, then I would see more text. I can see attachments. I can see images that have been attached to these discussion forums as well. So it is a very, very similar experience to what the user can have in Blackboard Learn, with the added benefit that they can access this from wherever, right? As long as they have, like I said in the beginning, navigated to all these content sections while they had an internet connection and downloaded all the attachments like so. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much a short overview about BbOffline. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to contact the consulting group, and we'll be happy to share more information. Thanks for your time.